Right, now it's time for day 3 of our Racing Weekly Cheltenham Festival preview. Pat Cooney, Sam Turner, Johnny Ward, and of course Cheltenham Festival-winning jockey Nick Scholfield alongside me. Pat, we're going to start off with the Turners. This is straightforward. Mighty Potter, end of story.
Yes, and once again, and just to reiterate, we'll be price boosting a horse in every race on the Thursday. And at 10 o'clock, there'll be a special price boost, so a considerable increase in price.
Will it be Mighty Potter?
It's on pace to be something like him, yeah. Now, Mighty Potter, he's currently 6-4 favourite. And what's not to love about what he's done this year? He looks a rock-solid horse. I'm not sure what Willie Mullins is going to run. El Fabiolo's presumably in the Arkle. Appreciate it. I suppose he might end up running. But he is a 9-year-old, and he's not really improving anymore. So Mighty Potter is certainly a horse that's on pretty much on everybody's radar. My one thing about him, though, if you are picking holes in him, he did disappoint at the meeting last year. So, you know, you have to pretend that didn't happen if you're a backer of him. I think Mighty Potter is clearly the form horse in the race. It does seem to me, though, that everybody it seems to be a Banbridge fan on the step up to 2.5 miles. And he does look the way he finished last time out as though he's a serious player in the race. I think Joseph wants good ground for the horse. So, you know, we're on day 1 on Thursday, so we wait and see what the ground is there. But I'm sure Banbridge will have plenty of supporters at his price. But Mighty Potter, this year's version reads very well, and he's a worthy favourite. But Banbridge will run him close, I'm sure.
Johnny, what do you think about Mighty Potter and the fact that he disappointed Cheltenham last year? You put a line through that?
It's the only worry, yeah. I honestly don't know what happened. I think might have backed him in the race, but he was a 15-2 shot, so he was kind of unheralded. 20-1 then when he won at Punchestown, which is quite mad. Can you forgive a horse a bad run? If you know, Sir Gerhard was mad odds on. He was 20s in a 5-horse race at Punchestown, Mighty Potter. And he's been flawless this year. I think he's an absolute banker. That is the only concern, that run last year, but he's been flawless. Brilliant jumper. No real issues with him apart from that run at Cheltenham, but he's to me, he's a banker, one of the bankers of the week.
Yeah, I can see why people would think he would be a banker. He looks...
That means you don't think so.
Well,
that's what it means.
I'll be looking to get with Johnny's auntie with her Bet365 account and have a dirty each way bet probably on Banbridge, like everybody else.
I don't have a Bet365 account.
No,
just for what
no,
it's
but
worth.
does your auntie?
No, nor Megan McCann either. Nobody has no Bet365.
I would want the ground, obviously for Banbridge. I want decent ground over 2.5, because the one time he ran against Mighty Potter on soft ground, he got obliterated. But, you know, it's the first race on the new course, so hopefully there'd be a nice bit of ground there for him. I thought he ran really well behind El Fabiolo. I thought it was a really clever ride from JJ Slevin, to be honest. He could have got him on his head, chasing a absolutely frenetic pace. He let him find his feet, let him find some rhythm, and he came home in his own time. And I thought it was a really good run. I think it's the best novice chase that we've seen either side of the Irish Sea, so I've got to follow the form. If I'm with El Fabiolo in the Arkle, got to be with him and the Turners.
Okay. Nick, Mighty Potter's just looked a machine, hasn't he, over fences?
Yeah, and I'd imagine that's why David Russell come out of retirement. To be honest, he must have been looking at this and thinking, you know, this could be a bit of a cash machine. But
it's a tough
very
one for
mercenary.
Jack loves this horse as well. It is Jack Kennedy is 21 and he's broken his leg 5 times.
I'm 33 and done it 6 times.
Yeah, but that's not quite as impressive. By that metric, Jack would have broken it like 25 times. Then, you know, so just the 6 times for me. Is it sore?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's wooden leg.
Yours might be in a minute if you keep asking questions.
No, like Mighty Popper. Did I hear Gordon Elliott saying this is like Gold Cup? This is his main hope. You know, he could well be the real deal, and I think, you know, looking at what's against him, appreciate it. If he turns up, then he's his only worry. But looking, like, for me, Banbridge, he's only beaten the English horses averagely, is he? And, you know, if they're going to be that class, they need to be beating a horse like Banbridge, really.
Yeah, he looks to have the class edge, Mighty Potter. Okay, that's the Turners. The Pertemps Network Final. Now, Nicky Henderson's actually coming. He's coming for this one. He's got a lot of chances. He wants to win the Pertemps.
He does, and they've all got each-way chances, haven't they? Perhaps Walking on Air might be his main runner in the race. This Walking on Air, he's always had this massive reputation. He's owned by Doreen Tabor, who's the wife of Michael Tabor, So he's got that hype about the horse. I think he's a bit of a soft horse, really. I was at Doncaster the day he was favourite, and they stepped him up to the 3 miles. He didn't really finish the race out very well. And then Nico said, oh, well, we'll ride him different next time. So you saw a better version of him. So any one of Nicky's can win this. So no, I would imagine we'll be first 6 on the day. So don't go rushing to have a bet right now. In terms of the market, our old pal Charles Burns, shoot first. When this won last time out at Cheltenham, he said to me, that's it. I'm not running him again because he'll probably go and win again. And the handicap will put him up too much. So he said, you won't see him till Cheltenham. And that's a good policy because you look at the other horses in the market. Percival Le Galois, I don't think I'll be able to say that in an hour's time.
Nailed it that time.
He's gone up, I think, 15 for his win. And then you look at Maxim, who won a handicap by, 19 lengths? I mean, what was the point of doing that? And I think he's about £25 higher. So credit to Charles Burns for saying, no, I'm keeping this fella wrapped up in cotton wool.
Credit.
And shoot first, he's bound to be favourite. He's bumping into one, I think, here, though. Thanks for the help of David Pipe, of another JP McManus horse. And this horse had his first run after a wind-up when he won at Chepstow last time out. And it was a good Chepstow race. And he absolutely trotted up in the race. And when you're watching it, whenever someone joins our department, you say to them, look, watch a race and then tell me what the handicapper is going to put it up by. And sometimes it's very, very difficult. And we all thought it'd go up probably more than the 11 that it did actually go up for. So conceivably, if David Piper's worked the oracle with this horse, they found the trip, the wind-ups worked. I would imagine David Piper, I think he'll probably keep Kevin Brogan on him, who won on him that day as well. Why break up a winning team? And so he to me, is a legitimate rival in the race. I could see the Boss's Oscar running well. He ran well in our race at Musselburgh the other day. There wasn't a penny for him in the market. It was a Pertemps qualifier, and you have to finish it in the first 4 nowadays. And it was a good ride to finish 3rd. He was almost 4th, so well done him. So I can see there being money for that one. But he is an 8-year-old with 11.10. Shoot first is very much in the. This could be really, really well in. But one thing I know is that thanks for the help. If you just watch his last run, you go, oh, okay, I want to be on that one next time.
All right. Nick, what about this Pertemps final?
Like, you're always looking for the horses with not much form that just about qualify, but I'm going to go with the handicap queen, Phoenicia Williams.
Oh.
Her record is 2nd to none, and I think what she's done with Greenbrook, she qualified him but won 56 grand at the same time at Sandown, and I quite like the way he did it. And if they do get the rain, he stays very well. He ran in the Albert Bartlett last year, went very wide, probably didn't get a run of it in a very good race, still ran well. And I still think he's reasonably well handicapped. He's an honest. He's very small. He's no showboater, but he's honest and he tries. And this is the type of horse you need in the Pertemps race. And I just thought Greenbrook is a dark horse in the race. He was a bit disappointed in the Rendlesham, but knowing Venetia, she probably had another idea. It wasn't all about the Rendlesham, and I just think Pertemps, that looks right up his street.
Okay. Is it another for Charles Burns, do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, he's gotten a good hike. I know Racing TV had on the Road to Cheltenham series. My mate asked a question: why did he get such a ride for being ridden out? What did he get? What did he get for winning the last day?
10. For being honest. Honest Charles Burns, we like to call him.
It's probably. Does he have a Bet365 account? You're in conflab with him.
Not under Charles Burns.
Under Philip Burns?
Mrs. Burns.
Mrs. Burns. They used to always say, I think it was John Kiley, if John Kiley's missus had a 5 each way in a horse, it was the best mark any bookmaker ever had. But I don't know, I find this race tough. I'm not going to say I have a strong opinion on it.
All right, Sam?
Yeah, I'd give Maxim another chance. Events didn't work out for him last time. Yeah, he's shot up the weights, and I shouldn't imagine Gordon Elliott or Connections were that delighted with the way that he won over Christmas at Leopardstown, but it was a pretty nice performance, to be honest. £7 conditional on last time. Events just didn't work out for him, but I can understand why he's towards the head of the market, definitely.
The Maxim, and when he ran the last day, Gordon had 2 horses in the race that had, since they joined Gordon on aggregate, had improved £91 in the space of like maybe an aggregate of 7 runs. And both of them were beaten first time out for Gordon. Maxim was sent off odds on. If you backed him that day, he was about £50 well in, and he was beaten. And you're like, I think as a gambler, stuff like that is actually, that's the stuff that you really need to deal with well, because you can't explain that. You just can't. It's like like I back Man United yesterday. Fair enough, I lost the bet, but Liverpool had 8 shots on target. They won 7-0.
Let it go.
Sometimes you just got to say.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
I got Marie's Rock beating a Lanzarote as well. She went about the next 4 and improved about 40 pounds.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'd always remember Huntington Railway Station.
Like we've all been there with things like that. I'd like to give a mention to Captain Morgs for Nicky Henderson. As you can imagine, quite a few people have been talking about who said what. I believe that Nicky Henderson has said that Steeler March might be the pick of his, but of course he is owned by the King, so what else would he say?
Sir Nicky Henderson.
it's coming. But Captain Morgs, with the cheek pieces on, bolted up, stepping up in trip at Cheltenham last time. He's been kept fresh since then. The form of the race isn't that great, but Annual Invictus, who I think was back in third, came out and won. And he's always been a funny kind of horse. He's always been a travel bridle horse who hasn't quite put it in, but that time he travelled and he did put it in.
Apparently he gave Constitution Hill about 20. He had a 20-length start off Constitution Hill, and he picked him up and carried him the other day at Kempton.
What did Pat say?
That's yeah.
I didn't hear that one.
No, okay. There's
that,
always
that all-weather gallop. I've done it many a times. You can't take too much into that because they hack round and just sprint up the straight, and like I'd let that go over your head.
Is the King going to Cheltenham? Actually?
Good question. Good question.
That'd be
Do you know
pretty-
anyone who would find out? Could you call someone?
Pat Cooney?
Is the King
You're
going to?
talking
Is
about
that? Is that?
Talk about Charles Burns or
Tyson
the King.
Fury.
Tyson Fury.
On the subject of horses galloping,
Do you want
Nicky
Tyson
Henderson-
Fury at Cheltenham?
Yeah, do right.
Shishkin in the Ryanair.
Yeah, this is an interesting horse. After he won at Ascot, someone said to me, "Why isn't this 3-1 on to win this race?" And we were odds against at the time. And I said, "Well, no, we were 11-10, I think." I said, "Well, no one's backing him. We can't. We're not going to shorten him if we haven't laid." And then we laid bits of him, and then he appeared in these accumulators that you laid. Then evens. And then the same person said to me, "Why isn't he 3-1 on? Like, surely, what more does he have to do?" And anyway, what's going to take him on? Conflated in the market, he's not going to go. Fury Road, well, I don't know. Janadil is a possible, I suppose. He's a bit hit and miss, but he was second last year. He was beaten 100 yards, it must be said, but he was back in form last time out. Blue Lord was disappointing. The thing with Shishkin, this is one of these horses where the bookmakers will probably want to take him on at odds on, because he did disappoint last year. He did have a hard race last time. It was only a 26-day gap. And the bubble's a little bit burst with him, isn't it? And
What?
I think if he's odds on, we'll be taking him on.
The bubble was burst, but his last performance was probably as good as ever.
Yeah, I have to say
But it was only 26 days ago.
But he's
And-
won off a 26 day. He beat
Yeah.
Energumene off
Did
a
he-
26-day break.
Yeah.
He beat Energumene at Ascot after winning at Kempton of 26 days.
Did that hard race take it out of him at Cheltenham? Like, why was I lumped on him at Cheltenham last year and I was gutted? Like, it was like, you can't explain a performance as bad as that.
Well, there are a
It
couple.
was his bones, wasn't it?
It's a combination of wind,
Worse than
bones,
mine.
back.
Well,
But
Nicky
he's-
blamed the ground.
Sounds like you blaming your round of golf, that.
All right, back to me again. Why are you having a go at me all the time?
But
Have a
does
go at
that make
somebody
him
else.
odds on material, though, with you?
Well, against the opponents that he's got, I mean, there's nothing in that race. I mean, Blue Lord, had he not run like he did last time, I would still give him a shot.
I don't think he'd save this trip at
But
all.
I don't think I think he's a 2-miler personally, and I thought he was interesting for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. But I can't see what is the danger for Shishkin.
The danger is Shishkin.
The only danger is if he doesn't do what he did last time. But if he does, then forget about it.
I sit next to Nico de Bonville every day because we grew up together, and when you sit next to a jockey, you can get you know how they're feeling. And I always think when a jockey's very quiet and very nervous, it means they're worried about what could go wrong. Nico was so confident that day that horse was going to win, I felt. He had no worries in the world. He was taking it. Anyone that gave him a bit of back chat, he was taking it on. And he knew that horse was back to form. And I think they've got Shishkin back to what he was. Whereas before Cheltenham last year, I wasn't getting the vibes off him. Whereas this year, I think they've got Shishkin back to what Shishkin can do.
I'm with you. Yeah. How do you see it, Sam?
I think he's pretty near impossible to oppose. I just think he's head and shoulders above anything else in the race. You know your man who wants to go 3 on.
Yeah.
He hasn't got holes in his shoes, has he?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can see the public just putting him in every multiple on the day. I really can.
What price would he be in the Gold Cup, actually?
It'd be double figures, wouldn't he? No,
He's
the King
tens.
George on Boxing Day might be more his cup of tea, but we have to get him through this race first of all. I suppose he'll continue to shorten up in the market because they're going to be dropping away these horses because they've got other alternatives.
Johnny,
Does Conflated run off?
No.
no, he's
I
going to
think
Gold
that-
Cup.
They'll run Fury Road, won't they?
Yeah, Conflated is going for the Gold Cup because apparently last year Gordon Elliott wanted to run Conflated in the Gold Cup. The O'Leary said no, we want to run him in the Ryanair. Obviously, it's their race, but they said that he could run in the Gold Cup the following year.
Yeah, in fairness to Michael, he said he got that wrong. Like,
Yeah.
could you explain to the audience what a wind-up is, and does the second one after wind-up make
And
any
you've got
difference?
30 seconds.
So basically, when you're going along on a horse, you're going and you get to about halfway round, and they go.
Do you have a girlfriend, actually?
And it means they're not getting full oxygen into their body, but basically their wing cuts out, and basically they go to an operation, they cut the larynx, they get sedated. It's like going for an operation as a human. They take it out, and it means they can get more air into their body, and it does 8 times out of 10 it does sort them. It basically is allowing more oxygen into the body, and if you've got more oxygen, you can obviously run faster.
Great stuff.
There we go.
How long did that take? 25 seconds? Brilliant. Do you have a view on this, Ryanair?
You are betting on Shish can run this race. Let's be honest. If he
End
runs
of
this
story.
race, he wins. So it may be 4 to 5. If he's what is he, Pat? 4 to 5.
Yeah.
So
He should be 3 on.
it is a question of him running his race.
Yes.
I put the first column I had. I put up French Dynamite each way. I like Mouse Morris as a target trainer. He's good course form. He does have limitations, but I think at what is he, Pat? 16, 18 to 1 French Dynamite?
16.
I think each way he'll run very well. And if he returns his each way odds. But you are betting on Shish can run his race.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to run his race.
Okay, I think he runs his race, he wins. Let's move on and talk about the Stayers Hurdle. So you've already alluded to the vibes, Pat, that we have some uncertainty about Blazing Cow.
Yeah, connections say he's a 50-50 runner in the race at the moment, which might be 80-20 in other people's vocabulary. But nevertheless, it is a concern if you are a fan. It'd be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully connections will decide early. I'm sure they will. And if he doesn't turn up, then I would expect Mares Rock to turn up for the Stayers and get that invaluable £7 allowance. Connections seem mad keen to do it. The ground's going to dictate how the prices go here. Tihupu, we all know he's a soft ground horse, isn't he? And if he does get soft ground, I'm sure he'll be extremely popular in the market, but that's not guaranteed. Other horses that have been popular, Home by the Lee has been popular. 2 good recent wins to his name. He was well beaten this race a year ago, though, but has he improved sufficiently? Maybe, maybe not. It's just an interesting race. Flooring Porter's won this before. He's had his troubles. So this is the kind of a race where, from a bookmaking point of view, we'll be thinking, we can get them all beat, can't we? We can get a surprise result in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Ashdale Bob of Jessica Harrington ran well. He was 3rd in the Coral Cup a year ago. Good run behind Home by the Lee at Christmas. And what's not to love about Paisley Park? From an each-way angle, he'll hit his flat spot, I'm sure. But we all tried to get him beat at Kempton. We were thinking, well, he won't like Kempton. Now, admittedly, Champ ran a poor race that day, so he's flattered. But once again, we're saying, yeah. I could see wisdom in looking at Ashdale Bob, Paisley Park. But we're looking at this race as we'll get them all beat. Like Liz Nagar Oscar a few years ago when I think Paisley Park was favourite, wasn't he? But you just sense a shock result in this race.
Pat, thank you, Pat. I know, Sam, you're a big fan of Home by the Lee, and you have been for a long time.
He used to take more pushing than Nadeem Zahawi, didn't he, this horse? But now he travels like a dream.
You've been waiting for that one.
Yeah.
That was your ace on the
crowbar
back.
that in, isn't it? I thought he was really impressive over the 2.5. Is that the Liz Mudden? I thought JJ asked some real big questions of him there out the back straight. He really wound him up from a long way out. Came wide, had a tough trip, and the horse kept finding. And then Leopardstown over Christmas, I thought he was very good. I think he's just matured, grown up a little bit. I think the rigours of this race should suit him ideally. That long run from the second last to the last. He might not have the class of something like a Mares Rock if she stepped up in trip, or even a Blazing Cal if he did go. You'd think the Burns team would have enough on now, wouldn't you? They wouldn't keep throwing out these little injury concerns and edging the price out again and then having it on and then shortening it up again. But He's going to be a big danger because obviously he's got loads of Cheltenham form, but I like Home by the Lee. I think he's a very solid each-way bet in the race.
Johnny, how do you see it?
He's a fantastic each-way bet. I think I really do like him, and he's 11-2 now with the doubts about Blazing Cal. They're closely enough matched on collateral form from the Oliver McKiernan horse, who was second at Navan and third at Christmas, and he's just a better horse this year. And I do think Joseph O'Brien doesn't have many jumps horses, but as a target trainer who's laid this horse out for the race, like, this horse is going to be absolutely ready for his life, travelling better in his races this year. He's just getting better. If you're to have one each-way bet all week, I think he's well up there with Time Hill. He's just perfect for this race, and it'll be funny if it's he and Paisley Park, or the two horses coming to the last two horses that you know will find. That'll be a great finish. I think he's a brilliant each-way bet. Joseph probably won't have that many horses this week.
Nick, has Nico de Boinville given you any clues as to what's going to happen with Mares Rock and how confident?
No, he hasn't, but I'd love to see Mares Rock. I think with her mare's allowance, even on ratings, she's more than good enough, and she stays all day. If she comes out of it, I actually think Dashel Drasher, who wasn't far behind her at Cheltenham, he's a 20-1 shot. You know your bottom dollar that he will run his race.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's a great each-way bet. Looking, he's 20-1. He's solid. He'll keep going, and rain or no rain, he will be up the front end and he'll give you his all. So he's a solid bet, really, at 20-1. Yeah,
Dashel Drasher's actually his form throws him in with some of the best of the British hopes for the Gold Cup with Noble Yates and Ahoy Senor.
I'm hoping his primary objective is to not allow Florian Porter to have an easy at the head of affairs.
Well, yes.
They're on about dropping him in, did I read? Or not?
Dashel Drasher or Florian Porter?
Florian Porter.
Yeah, you're taking Noble Yates as one of the main British hopes, you?
Well, I don't think
because he's owned by the Whaley Gold.
I don't think he's going to. What?
You said, like, cause he's ties in with some of the main British hopes in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, Ahoy Senor sounds Russian.
Noble Yates.
Yeah, well, you know,
he's kind of trained by Emmett Mullins. So.
Yeah, well, I don't mind. I don't mean that he. I meant the other horses that he beat.
All right.
You know,
you may win the Gold Cup.
I don't know. I don't think so. But we'll come to that. But good tease for day 4.
There we go.
Mares Rock, I think, will win. I don't care who's in the race. She gets the allowance.
Big statement.
Oh, if she runs in the race, I think she must go very close to winning. She's been brilliant since Nicky Henderson's got her back to form, because there was a spell that he lost her.
Last mare to win the Stairs Hurdle.
Anyone?
Lady Rebecca, did she win it?
No, she didn't.
Didn't she? Good guess, though.
Good guess, great guess.
I can't remember.
She placed, wasn't she?
Yeah. Anyone remember the last mare to win the Stairs Hurdle?
The Stairs Hurdle. I can't think of one.
There you go.
Not in my lifetime, maybe.
It's like one of my gags that's killed him dead, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Good question, though, Johnny.
Yeah.
But she has been very good. She's won over 2 miles 5 a couple of times, and those wins, the one in the Relkill Hurdle, hardly looks like she's stopping or she's going away every time. She travels well.
She should be in that vintage Mares Hurdle, though, shouldn't she?
No, she shouldn't. She's doing the right thing, testing her mettle against the best in a division rather than halfway. Okay. The plate. Sorry? No, Annie Power won the champion. And she fell in the mares.
Did anyone see the footage that was going around of, this was shared in Huntington yesterday, of, I think it's a T.G. Carr documentary, it's an Irish language channel in Ireland, but there was footage of Ruby taken sort of, maybe from the stands, looking down on Ruby. So Ruby, after the horse fell, was literally, he was stood up as the horses were just jumping by him. He couldn't get out of the way of the horses, and he was just looking up like this as the horse were running by him. And it's amazing footage if you can find it. And he couldn't get out of the way, but the sickness in his face after that.
And then it just centres in on Pat Cooney.
And Charles Burns.
Charles Burns. It was 80-20 whether she got over that final hurdle.
Yeah.
The plate handicap chase, Pat.
Yeah, this is a race I can't be much help to. Not that I've been much help for the other races, but of all the 28 races, this has been the most low-key event of them all. What I can say, just from a form point of view, adamantly chosen a Willie Mullins. That's got 2 seconds by its name. Second to Mighty Potter and second to Jerry Colomb. That could look terrific form come the day of the race. But we're all on Emmett Mullins' watch here as bookmakers with So Scottish. I have to say, quite an exposed horse. You know, he has run, with a lot of credit in his last 5 races. But he hasn't run for 117 days by the time we get there, and he's not run yet for JP McManus. So clearly the word has been, don't run him, protect the handicap mark. So at first glance, he doesn't appear a gimme in terms of handicap point of view.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite telling that he wouldn't have run for 4 months. The connections love to have a crack at Cheltenham. And we are all on Emmett Mullins' watch with this. He landed the gamble 2 years ago with the Shunter, who had I think was entered in everything but the boat race, really, for the Cheltenham Festival.
That cost you your bonus, didn't it?
Yeah, he won the 100 grand more battle bonus. And
Said with feeling.
yeah, and when we were up there, he said, I might run him in the chase. Well, that's handy because he's only just won the hurdle. You know, so who is he anyway, Emmett Mullins? Like, what's he ever done? And then, of course, he won. And when I think it was 2-1, I think he won this race at.
Under Jordan Gainford, was it?
That's right. So we're all on So Scottish watch. All I can say is adamantly chosen. He could have terrific looking form by the time of the race. But So Scottish, you've got to like the fact that they protected the handicap mark.
Yep.
And the Sky could cave in on his price, honestly.
Trouble is, you're betting. You've got Willie Mullins, second and third favourite here, haven't you, with Adamantly Chosen and Horton Colère. And he's got an abysmal record in handicap chases at Cheltenham, hasn't he? So it might be a race to get involved in. A couple of British horses, Midnight River, who's already won there on the track there, on a bit of cut of the ground. Yeah, let's hope we don't see that. Nick, can you have a word?
Harry Skelton's
The Skelton celebration?
celebration. You don't want a fan of it? Sam?
Not for me, no.
Really?
Well, he's only got to put his foot in a pole, hasn't he? And he's
Are we
gone.
fans of that sort of celebration? Yeah. What do you
I've no issue with it.
Have you?
Yeah. I think it's a bit of fun, like, you know, when you have, like,
Sam, I'm surprised.
Paul Carberry waving at Jim
I think
Quality and,
It's
you
an
know,
accident waiting to
Jamie
happen.
Spencer.
Yeah, I don't mind that because they've got hands on the reins, and but
What do you reckon, Nick?
I just think it's an accident waiting to happen.
Well,
that.
Nick,
Will
you're
you
not
give us
sure,
a
are you?
commitment? If you have a winner at Cheltenham, right, which is odds against, let's be honest. If you do, will you commit to doing that celebration?
To be honest, I've had someone riding the horse with me, Anthony Not Humble. So
That's right. Humble, your first Cheltenham Festival. wasn't it?
So I've had 2 people on a horse. So I think I could do it. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. But do you think it's a good thing?
Look, we're talking about it, so it must be a good thing.
Yes.
Probably get a whip band as well. Like.
Yeah.
We've also talked about Johnny's sex life, so it doesn't necessarily follow, does it?
Sorry, I disturbed your Midnight River.
Anyway,
It's been a bizarrely long show.
I'm going to go for Fugitive in this race.
Yeah,
I'm
well said.
finished second by Il Dorado at Cheltenham the last time. I actually won on him off 120 round Worcester. He was a good thing that day.
Yes.
And he's off 149 now. But I still made it look like hard work. But I still think this horse is improving, like a lot of the trainers' horses are. And yeah, I just think 20-1, they've underestimated him, as well as Il Dorado in the race, actually.
Yeah.
They got a good, solid Cheltenham form. I don't think there's anything that's unexposed in the race. Even Emmett Mullins' horses showed a bit of form. So there's nothing that you go through in the race that you think it's got a load of duck eggs next to his name and they're hiding something. I think they all, you know where they are with them. So.
All right. So, Sam, sorry, did you say you?
Yeah, those would be my 2 plays in the race. Yeah,
Okay.
Midnight River and Fugitive. I
Okay.
like Fugitive. I think good trainer as well, Richard Hobson.
And Johnny, you're with.
It's funny with So Scotty, just looking here, he was never sent off favourite until that day at Tremor. I honestly think this is one of the most remarkable gambles that has ever taken place in racing, where these 4 seemingly unconnected horses, one horse trained by a trainer who'd never had a horse placed, had no form, was back from 100 into 6-4, and you'll never really get to the bottom of what happened there. But So Scottish ran in a maiden hurdle, I think it was for horses that had never finished place before, and he was the first leg, I think, of the 4-timer. He was sent off 5-6 in the maiden hurdle at Tremor for horses who'd never finished place before. And he got beat. Like, unbelievable. So then he has improved like 50 pounds ever since. I think he's stepping up and trip from the Ascot run will definitely help him. I think he's very solid each way. Whether he's enough in hand to win, I don't know. But it just goes to show you can have the right horse with 50 pounds in hands and they do get beaten.
Yep.
I
All right.
got Big Bucks beat once in a handicap at Cheltenham.
How did that happen?
I rode him.
What did Nichols say to you afterwards?
Well, I'm not there now.
Touché. Very good. Pat, the Mares Novice Hurdle looks
we
like.
we should focus on that part for the last leg of the show. The Nichols Schofield split.
Lucia.
Yeah, very, very solid, and of course, ultra impressive all runs so far. connections were mulling over having a crack at the Supreme, taking advantage of the mare's allowance. But she's a very, very solid favourite. She's around about 13 to 8. I can see her continuing to shorten up in the market.
Okay.
That being said, we do get some shock results in this race. So it's far from a gimme that she'll win this. But she's been very visually impressive. You can make a case out each way for You Wear It Well. This one's only defeat was second to Hermes Allen. So again, that could look very good form. And I'm interested in Princess Zoe of Tony Mullins. Yeah. No doubt he'll be talking her up because he talks her up every single race, be it the Ascot Gold Cup, the Prix de Cadran, the Novice Hurdle that she dead heated in. I'm sure he'll be talking a good enough game for her to be a popular each way order in the race. But sometimes you just go with your eyes and you think, Lucia, yes, that'll do for me.
Okay. Nick, would you go with your eyes? I mean, I'm going to say yes, looking by the answer. You always go with your eyes. Must get you in trouble. Lucia?
Yeah. To be honest, the boys have said what I thought. Nothing bad.
She'll win.
Yeah.
Johnny?
Horse by the Gurkha, which is quite unusual. We do have a Zoe in the audience over there.
Princess Zoe?
We've a magical Zoe and a Princess Zoe in this race. This Zoe is married to the man who actually presented the show at the start.
Presented it very well. All right, well done.
And he said...
he was different class, yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't tell her he was going to the Dublin Racing Festival until he was pretty much on the plane. And this Zoe has never been to Ireland, so...
wow.
She's got two options in this race. I actually do like Princess Zoe. I think the horse, obviously that is. My girlfriend's also called Zoe, so we have a bit of a connection. I started dating her when this horse started to go... didn't hear that.
She doesn't buy him socks for Christmas.
That you're wearing.
Oh, yeah, she need new socks. But she was a little bit disappointing, I thought, considering she jumped quite well in her hurdle debut. I thought, in fairness, Tony Mullen said she'd be miles better for the run. Like herself and High Definition are two of the highest rated flat horses that you'll ever see going hurdling. I don't know, if she gets into a rhythm, her price is going to collapse in running, and I think she's going to run well. A Lot of Joy is a horse who's very good in the flat as well, half sister to a very good horse, Sonny Boy Listen of Johnny Murtagh's. But I think Princess Zoe, I think there's a bit of juice in the price. They could have gone for the Albert Bartlett and stepped her up in trip, but if she gets into a rhythm, I think she's a great chance.
All right, Sam, give me a snappy.
Yes. Really like Lucia, but I think Astro Diamond's a bit overpriced. You know, running some really good races this year. Behind Facile Vega, Ilete Tomp was second that day.
Yep.
Then in the Royal Bomb behind Marine Nationale, and she finally got ahead in front over hurdles last night at Fairy House. So, yeah, I'm big fan of hers.
All right, Lucia could be another one for Nicky Henderson, who's having a great Cheltenham Festival, according to us. The Kim Muir to finish things off on day 3, Pat.
Yeah, and there's just been an interesting mover in the race here. Next Destination has been well supported with us.
Well,
now, good luck with this one. Yeah. Maybe I'm miffed because I'm not on at the fancy prices, but this is going to carry top weight of 12 stone. He's not run for 730 days.
Typical bookmaker market mover.
Typical.
Yeah, I wish them well. I just can't see it myself. Yes, we know Nicky Henderson's a genius and everything else. 11-year-old, 730 days, top weight. Not me. I like Stumptown here. And I always think it's telling, it's an amateur riders race. Yeah. So when these top amateurs get booked months and months and months in advance, you know you're on a live one. And Barry O'Neill, as Johnny will tell everyone, is one of the top guys riding today. He's been booked to ride Stumptown. He's got an entry in another race, but he's coming here because Barry's already been booked. He won at Sandown last time out. They were a bit nervous that they wouldn't be high enough rated to get in. That's how well handicapped they think they are. Well, he won at Sandown. He went up £10 for it, so he's going to get in. He's going to be a very popular horse, and rightly so. Mr. Incredible's a second favourite. There's been money for him. Good run at Warwick. Stepping stone for the National. Of course, if he wins, he won't get a penalty. Another one that we've laid, and I would like to ask Johnny about this, Angel's Dawn. We were 14-1 about a week ago. And the jury was out. Would he have won last time out or wouldn't he? So there has been a few quid for him. I'm not sure who's going to be riding him. He might go for the Midlands Grand National if he doesn't get in this. He's number 43, but you've got to like Stumptown and the Barry O'Neill jockey booking.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, not a race that I'm mad about. I think Stumptown's the right favourite. I'm told Mr. Incredible actually refused on the gallops last week.
He did, yeah, according to Andy
Your man
said that yesterday. He's a quirky.
And he's sort of second or third favourite for the National as well. Might make you think twice about taking 5-1, especially with the Willie Mullins Handicap Chase stats. So I thought Dunboyne was interesting. They made him favourite for the Pertemps last year.
Yep.
And he obviously finished second in Thyestes, ran well. Gordon Elliott's got really, really good record in festival handicap chases. So at 10 to 1, I'd probably side with him at this early stage.
All right, Johnny?
Angel's Dawn is a mare who I think Mount Ida won this race as a mare as well, despite jumping violently right. And I thought she was travelling. I did think she was travelling like a winner the last day. A mark of 131. Sam Curling's could be his first runner at the festival. Yeah, Mr. Incredible. Again, it's like Paul Byrne bought this horse despite the fact he effectively down tools in his last couple of runs for him with the Ramad. He has an interesting way of looking outside the box, and it looked good at Warwick, but you would be worried about it. I tipped up Stumptown 2 runs ago on the basis that he was a price, but like I didn't think he'd be running in this and going off favourite. Gavin Cromwell has really sorted out his jumping, and Barry O'Neill, I spoke to Barry today actually about the Fox Hunters or whatever they call it now, and he's a brilliant booking for this horse. He's never had a winner at Cheltenham. I think Barry proved me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think he has. And I think this horse will be very, very popular each way. He's just gotten his jumping together, and he loved the ground.
Okay, Nick?
I'm going to go for a bigger price, Musical Slave. He is in the Midlands National, but he didn't win much of a race at Exeter, but I thought he always just doing enough. He's just come into form now in an open race. I thought 20 to 1 shot. I think he'll stay well, and sure to have a good amateur.
Okay, he's got plenty of ability, that horse. Gavin Lynch put up Stumptown on the Racing Weekly podcast when he was last on, so that's enough to pay some respect to that horse. Okay, that is it for day 3 of this Racing Weekly Cheltenham Festival preview, brought to you by oddschecker in association with Bet365. Very soon we'll have day 4 for you.